Hi and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to create this look right here using the NYX Full Throttle and the Daring Damsel. It looks like this. And I really do love this quad from NYX. It's very pigmented, very beautiful, stunning colors. So if you want to learn how to create this look right here, then please stay tuned. We are starting out by priming our faces using the Benefit's Porefessional, and I'm just placing that on my cheeks, on my chin, on my nose, and on my forehead, typically where I need it the most. And then going on to foundation, we are using the L'Oreal True Match in the color 2R2C Vanilla Rose. And I'm first applying this to my face using my fingers before I'm moving on to a damp beauty sponge from H&M. And I'm just using this to dab the product onto my skin. And I push this product into my skin and I take care to also pull it down my neck a little bit so there are no harsh lines on my jaw, and also so that the color of my face blends in nicely with the color on my neck. And then moving on to setting my face, I am using a powder brush from Sephora, and it looks like this. And I'm also using my Mercier Translucent setting powder, and I'm setting mostly my forehead, my chin, my nose, and around my mouth. We are going to set some more under the eyes after we do the eye look. For brows, I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the color Taupe. And first, I'm brushing my hairs upwards and outwards before I move on to the pencil end of the brush. And I start out by lining the bottom part of my brow. And this is just to create a rough guide of how I want my brows to be shaped. And then I start filling them in, starting from the tail. And I always do it this way, regardless of whether I'm using a pencil or a powder or a pomade. I always do it the same way. And then in the center, I'm using upwards motions to create more hair-like strokes. And then to set my brows, I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. And I'm brushing upwards in the center and outwards when I'm getting closer to the tail of my brows. And then I'm priming my lids, and I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and this is in the anti-aging. I've tried them all, and I have to say I like the original, I like Eden, and I like the anti-aging one. I do not whatsoever like the Sin one, which I'm using in a different video later on, so you'll see why I don't like it. And then I am going in with my Urban Decay Naked number 3 palette, and I'm just using that first very white color to place on my brow bone, just to set that area and make sure we can create a smooth transition. And then I'm going in with the first pink matte color, and I'm just using this as a transition color. We are going to use the NYX Full Throttle quad, but the pigmentation of this quad is like super, it's amazing. So I felt like I wanted to have a softer color just for the transition, just to make sure. And I'm using a fluffy brush from Sephora. Then taking the NYX quad and using the brown color, I am taking a different fluffy brush. This one is from Sephora too. And I'm just dusting that into my crease. I am using slight circular motions and also windshield wiper motions. And I'm just using that all over the crease and also dragging it a little bit upwards towards the brow. And I'm sorry about the light not being very stable in this video. I'm using natural lighting, and it was kind of overcast, kind of sunny, so the light wasn't very stable. And then moving on to the golden color, I'm using a flat synthetic brush. This one too is from Sephora. And I'm just packing the product onto the inner half of the eye. You can see how amazingly pigmented this color is. It's stunning. It just blows my mind. And it's so easy to work with as well. You can see very little fallout. And I'm actually using my brush dry. I didn't put anything on it. And then we're moving on to the burgundy color, and I'm using this on a fluffy brush and on the outer half of my eye. And I'm just blending that into both the brown color and the golden color that we used before. And this color too is so rich, so soft, so pigmented. It's amazing. If you haven't tried any of these quads from NYX, I would really, really recommend. And then I take a clean brush, and this is a 221 SE brush from MAC, and I'm just using this to blend everything out, making sure there are no harsh lines, no harsh transitions. Everything is just smooth and flawless and blended. And then to conceal my under eye area, I am using my Touch Eclat in the color number 2, and I am just dotting that onto my face. And then I am using the brush and the little clicker thingy to just spread that a little more before I move on to using the same damp beauty blender that we used for our foundation, and I just finish blending using that. And so it's important that you push the product into your skin. You're dabbing, you're pushing, you're not dragging the product onto your skin, because you already have foundation underneath and possibly even a little bit of setting powder. So if you drag and not push, it will like build and cake up. And then to set the under eye area, I'm using the same translucent setting powder from Laura Mercier. Sometimes I use the translucent setting powder for my face, and then I use the secret brightening powder for my under eye, but I was traveling, I didn't bring both, so I just used the translucent setting powder for both areas. And then moving on to the under eye area, first we're using the brown color and we're pulling that all the way below the lower lash line. And then we're moving on to the burgundy color, and we're using that on the outer half of the eye. My sister was walking in the background, so the clip where I apply the burgundy color is very short and kind of fuzzy. I'm sorry about that, but you get the idea. And then for mascara, we are using the good old roller lash from Benefits. And as you know, I like to start by applying from the bottom, or like from the underside of the lashes in upwards motions, and then I put a coat on the top of my lashes and then a new coat on the bottom of my lashes to make sure that all my lashes are covered in mascara. And that's how it looks with mascara. And then for bronzer, we are using the Benefits Hoola bronzer, and I'm using this with an angled blush brush from Sephora. And this is only like 50% faster than I do in real life. So as you can see, I actually do move my hand quite fast when I do my bronzer and my blush. And speaking of blush, for a blush, we are going to use the, wait for it, oh, it's supposed to come. Use the Mineral Matte Blush in the color Charming, and this is from the brand Mekka, and I'm using a Real Techniques blush brush. And I'm just dusting that onto the apple of my cheeks and backwards. And then for highlight, we are using the Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder from Hourglas, and we're using a small setting brush from Real Techniques. This is so soft and fluffy, this brush. It's amazing. I love working with it. And this highlighter is just so beautiful. And then I'm just going over it with my damp beauty blender just to make sure everything melts into the skin. I had a long day ahead of me, so I wanted to make sure. To line my lip, I am using my Laura Mercier lip pencil, and this is in the color Naked. As you know, I usually don't wear a lip liner if I wear a liquid lipstick, but today I am wearing a normal lipstick, so thus I wanted to line my lips first. And then I'm going in with a double-ended lipstick from Bite Beauty, and this is in the color Fig and Date, and I'm using the most pink color on the outside of my, or the outer corners of my lips, and then I'm going in with the other side of the lipstick on the inner half of my lips. And then to set my face, I am using my Body Shop Vitamin E face mist, and I'm just spritzing that all over the place. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or feedback, leave them in the comments down below. You can follow me on Snapchat and Instagram. My username is Superguri, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel right here on YouTube. And until next time, bye!